Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition, a video update, if you will, from EasyDMARC. Now, of course, EasyDMARC is a solution that has been part of All Things MSP for pretty much a while. I mean, they were one of our first sponsors, so we really do appreciate their support. And because I've actually personally gotten to use this product, I think it is one of the easiest ways for an MSP to translate something that their clients absolutely need, because DMARC, as we know, is no longer an option, into monthly recurring revenue. So without further ado, let me bring up Mike Anderson from EasyDMARC. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Eric. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. And hello to all your viewers also.
Yeah, we'll really appreciate what EasyDMARC does and is doing for, the rest of the community, not just All Things MSP, because you support a lot of other outlets as well, a lot of other communities. So do appreciate that. But we want to talk about EasyDMARC today. And really what I wanted to talk about today, because what you guys have done is you don't just have a product, right? You have a product that everybody needs, because everybody has to control DMARC for their clients. It's just not an option anymore. We've had that conversation. We've beat that horse to death. But what you guys have done is you've taken this platform that everybody needs and then built sales enablement around it to translate that platform into monthly MRR, and you're showing MSPs how to do it. So for those people who don't know, give us a quick explanation of what EasyDMARC is, and then let's go into the platform and why it makes it easy.
Yeah, so we're a DMARC analytics platform that helps you solve for DMARC compliance in the business. And we'll get to all that. Everybody wants to talk, bells and whistles and flux capacitor and all that. But we can get to that point in just a minute. So the platform really, right, like you mentioned, will enable them to really not only solve for it, but most importantly, go make some money.
Well, and I think because, DMARC alignment, DMARC configuration, and, SPF and DKIM along with it are things that can be done manually. But your platform takes it to the next level and makes it super easy, not just to do, but also to monitor.
Yeah, and it's the old adage, right? Time is money in an MSP. So do you want to spend 10 hours doing this, or do you want to spend 2 hours doing this? Now, if you charge a 10-hour consulting fee to do it and you burn up 10 hours, you're not really making much profit. But if you charge 10 hours and I enable you to do it in 2 hours, you can see there's going to be a big profitability margin, that holy grail of 50 to 80% profitability that everybody's looking for to sustain the business. MSPs are really good, being tech guys and with their tech knowledge, right? But the whole question is, how do you convert that tech knowledge into revenue, right? We all have some decent skills, and your MSPs have really good technical skills. But how do you take that technical passion and again convert it into to revenue? And there's an old saying: extraordinary, successfully people are capable of focusing their passion into profitability, and we can help them and enable that with our platform.
Yeah, before we started the recording, you referred to it as taking them from technology genius to revenue genius. And I like that. And the way that you guys do that, in addition to having just pretty much a frictionless platform for them to be able to do the actual work, is you've created this sales enablement program around it to teach them how to generate MRR out of that.
Yeah. So, the first thing, get trained and get set up. And we have automated that entire process. Somebody can get up and going in just a couple of hours, know what to do and get going. But we've built a platform to solve for DMARC compliance issues. And again, we'll get to that part. But remember this one thing, Eric, your viewers need to remember: solving for DMARC does not pay the bills. Charging money solving for DMARC will pay the bills. So how do you do it? Right. Well, we've created some tools that the MSP can use, some risk assessment modeling to discover where business is all around them. And MSPs are typically regional because sometimes you have to go on site and do some things, so you can't be too far out. But with DMARC business, it's all in the cloud. So it's all virtual. So you can literally scout for business all around the world. And so what we do is enable the MSP to do risk assessments. It'll take about 5 minutes. You can put in domains. It'll come back with a complete risk assessment, a score, probability of threat, explanations. You can customize it and be able to send it out. Believe it or not, you can put in a domain, generate it. It'll download it. You can customize it and send it out in about 5 minutes, right? And so that doesn't take very long. And so if you know anything about success, success is about stacking up wins sequentially till you get to a certain point, and then it grows exponentially, right? And so with our risk assessments, and again, we've got thousands of MSPs on this program. These risk assessments close at about a 10% rate, just organically. Very simple risk assessments that take, again, about 5 to 10 minutes a day. So if you kind of do the math, and part of our program and how we teach the MSPs to sell is you do one of these risk assessments a day, right? You set your priority, do one a day at the beginning of the day. It takes 5 to 10 minutes, send it out. It's kind of like casting a lure in the pond. Just let it go, move on. Organically, those will close at 10%. Now, if you do the math, there's 260 business selling days in a year. You send one risk assessment a day. That's 260 risk assessments. You go, man, Mike, that's a little bit extreme. 260, right? Well, remember this. Success happens at the extreme, not in the middle where everybody's comfortable. You got to get outside your comfort zone. But if you do these one a day, they'll close at about a 10% rate. That's 26 new logos a year. Now ask your viewers what 26 new logos will do to their bottom line 1 year, 3 years, 5 years in.
Yeah, and it's not just the selling of EasyDMARC, right? That's where you're trying to get a foothold.
Yeah.
So once you've proven that you can do something of value to them, because maybe they already have an MSP, and that MSP is not providing DMARC services, and that's a huge open door of vulnerability for that client, especially when we've transitioned from phone being the primary source of communication to now email is the primary source of communication between businesses.
Yeah.
And so if you are not guaranteeing that, back and forth, that communication via email, a business can lose a lot of money. In fact, we had one of your partners on not that long ago, Sharon Martin, and she talked about one of her clients who was losing thousands of dollars a week because emails were not coming through.
Yeah, there's real risk. These are real life, assessments and real life scenarios that are happening. And of course, I'm in the business, and I've personally put thousands of MSPs on this program, so I've heard hundreds and hundreds of stories about the things that can happen. There's a couple of things, right? This is not a shiny new object. This is your customers must have it. They will be damaged, right? So you've got a lot of wind at your sails to move forward, right? It used to be optional, like you mentioned, no longer optional. And so there's a couple of things, right? You can talk to your customers about. General communications, going to have problems. Email marketing, you might as well throw that in the garbage. That's not getting any through. They've already stated. And then most importantly, invoicing. We know invoicing is done through emails now. Some people use the traditional mail, but most of it's done through emailing. What happens when your customer starts getting slow paid or no paid over 30, 60, 90 days, right? What's it going to do to their business, right? And most importantly, who are they going to call when they figure out what happened, and who are they going to blame, right? There's one thing about this, right? When your customer gets slow paid or no paid, guess who they're going to slow pay and no pay? That's right. Your MSPs are going to be right at the top of that list. And so you use these kind of conversations and these risk assessments. They're data-driven risk assessments to say, this is why you need to have it. These sales are not hard. They're pretty generous, and they're pretty quick to close, and it's a feature of profitability, right? And so if you're doing this and you're making, let's just say $20 or $30 per domain in profit, 10 domains, nobody's making any money, but you get to 100, 300, 500, do the math on what you can put to your bottom line. But most importantly, right, with our tool to add new logos, let's just say a couple dozen new logos or even 20 new logos a year to your business, we all know one thing, Eric. It's all about land and expand, right? Now, how many of your MSPs have started off with a real small customer that eventually became a monster?
Yeah. And, a lot of people talk about how, you go in and you pitch them on managed services. And if they don't want to go managed services, then you drop them. Well, you could be dropping a lot of really good clients by doing that. So going in and getting a foothold in something like
Right.
this, where it's, kind of a security product, but also kind of an infrastructure product, because, email is so critical. It is considered infrastructure at this point. And from that, if something goes wrong with their domain because their MSP did something wrong, you're going to catch it. You're going to find it. So you're going to be the hero and maybe eventually be able to displace that MSP with other services that they're doing. So I think it's one of those things. We used to have some products back in my day where we could do that. We called it creating a wedge. That we called them wedge products, and they were things that you could stick in the door. Right? They weren't ready to go manage services in full, or they had somebody else providing most of everything. But this was something I could throw in the door that was extremely attractive. They absolutely needed it. And because of that, I got a foothold.
Yeah. And I was the king of takeovers. I've been the king of takeovers my entire career, whether I was in hosting or peripherals at CDW. You let me get a foot in the door, and I was going to take all these other categories and grow the business. MSPs are no different, right? And this success is sequential. So if you're doing this day after day, your success will stack up, and eventually you'll look back and go, wow, look at us now with all of the revenue. And the bottom line is you have to do the work. Again, these sales are not the $1 million home run, but sequentially stacking up these wins will lead to a lot of success. And like the old saying goes, don't complain about the success you don't have for the work you don't put in.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you talk about it in the 5 minutes a day,
Yep.
do one assessment a day, 5 days a week. That's easily doable. In fact, doubling it to 2 a day would not be out of the realm of possibility. But you're right, that adds up. It's sequential. It adds up to 260, let's call them pitches a year.
That's right.
Right? And, if you don't pitch, nobody's going to swing. Nobody swings, you're never going to get a home run.
That's right. And you look at all the greatest sales trainers in the business, Robin Robbins, Chris Weiser, whoever, Eric Simpson, all these guys, they're all doing the same thing. You've got to be swinging. You've got to be stacking up 50 and, 50 a week or 200 a month or whatever their numbers is. This program will dovetail and fit right in, compartmentalize right in with any training program that you're using to generate revenue, produce risk assessments, data-driven risk assessments, so that you can go in and go, hey, you're at risk. Just wanted to let you know, we're DMARC specialists. We can solve it. If you want to have a conversation, just let us know. You throw that in the water, with your bobber, and you just walk away. You do 260 of those a year, the fish will bite. You'll get more deals than you can ever imagine. And our MSPs on this program are living proof, like you had with your guest earlier.
So, Mike, if somebody wants to find out more about EasyDMARC, how do they find you?
Easy. Go to www.easydmarc.com. You can do a free trial or contact us. My email is mike@easydmarc.us. And so don't hesitate to reach out. It's in the name, EasyDMARC. We make it easy.
Awesome, Mike. And I know you're going to a lot of events up, and we got a lot coming up before the end of the year. I'm sure that I'll see you at one or two of them at least, I hope. And, if you just have a conversation with EasyDMARC, because if you're not handling DMARC for your clients, I don't know where you've been. You've been under a rock somewhere.
Number one, there's no excuse for an MSP not to know that you have to have DMARC in your practice now. I used to hear that early on, a year and a half ago, earlier this year. That should not be an excuse anymore.
Nope. So check them out. And again, thanks to EasyDMARC for sponsoring all things MSP. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for the time, everybody.